thing that's happening? What is the barrier that's keeping me from loving my Aunt DJ? What is she doing? What is that thing? I need to name it so I can say, okay, I need to work on being patient, kind, whatever that may be. Or Kasaya, man, why can I not love Kasaya right here? What is it that she's doing? And we need to literally name, by the way, you guys, I love you. I'm just using you. But we need to literally name what that is. Because if we just go out there and go, I'm just going to love, and then just keep going, and we don't stop and tell ourselves why we have a barrier against it, it's just like in anything. You name it, you can go to defeat it. You can start working towards that. And then as we're doing that, we may need to make a determination. Am I going to put this person as a priority? Or am I going to let my pride and my position be the priority? What's going to have priority in this situation, the person or my pride and the position I hold on it? That's a tough question to ask. Because I'll tell you this, when it comes down to it, I think the question Jesus is going to ask us is, how did you love so-and-so, not what did you believe about that issue? How did you treat them? Because remember my commandment? Love each other as you've loved yourself. And then finally, and I encourage you guys to go back and read this, determine if I'm secure enough in Jesus to do whatever it's going to take to help bring hope and light and salt to that person's life. Go back and read 1 Corinthians 9 and the Apostle Paul and his attitude about loving people. He made comments like, be careful that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. In that section, he says, we put up with anything rather than hinder the gospel of Christ. And then the one that's the most popular, he says, though I am free and I belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. He said, I have become all things to all people so that by all possible means I might save some. How many of us can say that's our mentality? But that was the Apostle Paul who said that. So we need to make that final determination. Am I secure enough in who I am in Jesus that I'm willing to go back and reacquaint myself with what love really is? And I'm willing to be honest about what it is that's keeping me from loving my neighbor there. And that I'm going to be able to decide to put that person over my pride and over the position I hold. Am I secure enough in Jesus to say, I'm going to be who you need me to be right now so that I can show you I love you and we can talk. And we can get through this, because that's what Paul was saying he was doing. Read the whole thing. He put himself in positions that he did not agree with in order to communicate with those he was trying to reach. That's the weapon that we fight with, and that's the weapon that I believe that God is calling us as a church to be fighting with, and that's what he's calling us to do, to be the hope and the light and the salt. And as we make more transitions, it's going to get hard. It's going to get even harder. People are going to make decisions. People are going to say to do things. People are going to put out mandates. All kinds of stuff are going to happen. And what we're going to have to pull back every single time when it hits us and we get frustrated or we get irritated or we go here again, the first thing we're going to have to do is go, okay, God, let me fight with love. How do I love my neighbor right now? I think that's what he calls us to do and to be. And if you're going, I don't know, I don't think I can handle this, I don't think that I can actually do this, that sounds kind of unattainable, I just want to remind you of some words that Paul wrote to the listeners in Rome when he said, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. And God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ did what he's calling us to do. In fact, he finishes out in Corinthians, it says, it's by the grace of God that I am what I am. The grace of God. So if you go, I don't think I can do it, remember the only reason you have a chance to is because it was done for you. That's the only reason you even have a possibility in that. Carly, if you want to come up, we're going to finish here, if you would, okay? While we were in this lockdown stage that we were in, all the pastors talk. We still had our meetings. Started out on Zoom, and then we got to finally go back to the saloon again and meet there and have some good conversations. And we realized that every church is in a different situation, in a different place, based on whatever it may be, whatever the demographics may be, whatever the logistics may be. We were all in a different place, in a different whatever. And obviously, on one hand, I brag on you guys. On the other hand, I try not to brag on us. But I love this group. I've shared that before. It's not a secret. I love this church, being a part of this church. What I realized in the midst of our conversation and the decisions that were made is one of the things that made things so difficult for us is one of the very simple logistics is the numbers versus the space. The activity versus the availability in the midst of a lockdown and things going on. And so that led to a bunch of different discussions, and it got to some different people and some different churches. And one day, I was walking the dog to the church during this time, and a neighbor close to the church was out, and in the direction of my walk was out working in their yard, and they were talking about their church and the things they were doing. And it was actually must have been right before Easter, because they actually said they were going to be meeting in their backyard for Easter, and that's what they're going to be doing. And then they talked about another church that was going to have services of 10 people for everybody, and they had 120 people in their church, so they're going to be doing at least 12 services. And they were talking about no, I take that back. They were talking about theirs, which only had a few, but they said maybe you should do the same. And I said, well, that'll end up being like 10 to 12 services. And that's when she came back and she goes, yeah, I've been wanting to ask you, what is it about your church? Why do you have people coming? Like, why do they come? Like, what is it you guys got going on there? Is it because you're not just stuffy old people that sing old things and follow traditions? Is it because, they were throwing all this stuff out there. I said, I love and I hate when somebody asks that question. Because number one, my answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I said, the only thing I do know is that we got good people that attract people. And they love people. And I shared that over and over and over again with different people. Our struggle in some of the things logistically that we've had to deal with is because we have good people that attract people. And in the midst of all the things going on, it's made it harder to know the right thing to do in certain things. And man, what a good problem to have. But because of that, the thing that's been on my mind more than anything is I don't want to lose that. No matter how it looks, no matter what is done, no matter what the next step is or what the transition is, I don't want to lose that. Because that's what makes us who we are. It is not all-star preaching and worship and everything, especially when she's dealing with allergies and stuff over here. That's not why everybody comes. It's the people with the people, which is how it's supposed to be, actually. And so that's why I felt it's so important that I remind us that what got us there is because we've loved people. And in the midst of all the fears and the craziness and the chaos that's going on, we've got to remember to continue to be people who love people and fight with that weapon, or we will lose it. And I don't want to lose that, because I do believe there's going to be another end to this, where things are going to look a little bit more normal of what we're used to, and the celebration is going to be even that much better if we hang in there and we love people. On top of that, we have people that need to be loved by people. So we still have a calling to be hope and light and salt. And that's why I wanted to share this today, to remind us of this, because all the fears and all the other stuff is real. But so is our calling. And I believe we can. It'll start with us. And that's what you'll get more information this week, but it'll start with us even as we make our transition next week. We are planning on going back into the building, at least for a Sunday. Big part because the Lutheran Church will be here using this park. Big chunk of the park. So we're going to take that Sunday to give it a shot. I can tell you right now that not everybody will agree with what takes place, one way or the other. But are we going to love each other? Our plan right now when we move back next week, because of who you've been through all of this, we're not planning on walking in with a whole bunch of restrictions. But there will be some. We've set things up so that we can be as prepared as possible. Except for one that just fell off the wall, we've got hand sanitizers in there. Logistically, we learned there we got the wrong thing for the wrong sanitizer, so we're even working on that because you might have clean hands, but you might break your leg at the moment if we don't get that taken care of because it squirts on the floor, so we're even dealing with that. But we've got hand sanitizers to help. We will go every other pew when we're in there to help keep people separated. We're asking that you come with just like you have here, you come with the family group and the group you came with and sit with them and then distance yourselves from the others in that. We will have the overflow from the front to the back. The sanctuary, that upper level from the front to the back will be utilized, and in fact, we've helped in that where there is now new lighting in that back area that we can dim so you can see better up front. There's monitors up there so that you can see the words to the music and stuff if you're in the very back that have been put in place. But we've also gotten the live stream going. We have a unpaid, super excited video tech guy down here named Caden who does whatever I tell him to do at the moment, or he doesn't eat. Anyway, he's been working on that along with Craig's son-in-law, Trevor, to help get us set up on there to where if we have to have overflow, we'll have the basement prepared with that big TV and can still watch the service live at that time. In the meantime, we'll still have it going live on YouTube and then recorded afterwards for those that still aren't comfortable for coming. But we've tried to set it up, but that's about as restrictive as we're getting. We're going to have people at the door that are going to open them for you. And if you decide you just want to go, I'm going to be a rebel, and I'm going to go sit by Joe Blow over there because I don't care. The Behringers are by themselves, and you go, I don't care, I'm going to sit by them. We might have somebody go, hey, come on, please. But we're not mandating face masks. We'll recommend them. In fact, I would encourage you, put one in your pocket. And the reason why isn't for the service, it's for afterwards, outside. If you come across somebody who's going, I'm still a little bit concerned, you go, okay, and I'll put this on to talk to you a minute. Because that's what love would do. Not because we're mandating it. Carry one with you, but we're letting you show who you've been, and I would rather we were governed by love than a mandate. Now, I will say this, if Trigo County comes out eventually and says we're doing a mandate, we're going to listen to our local governance. I actually went and talked to them about why we are where we are, the decisions that have been made, because I wanted to know why they've done that. Why are we not? Which, by the way, her answer was, because we don't have a problem yet. So why are we going to mandate it? That was in a nutshell what she shared. Why would I do that? But if it became one, we're fluid. We might put something out there and say, guys, let's do this. But at the moment, that's our plan for next week. And we're going to give it a shot. But what I decided is I'd rather we were led by love than by another law and another mandate, another thing on there. I want to trust us as the people to carry this out. There will be an email that will come out this week that will explain this again and have a little bit more on there. Okay? There won't be children's stuff for a while. We're also, no pressure on the schools, but we're going to see how it goes there. So Shay's super excited about that. Well, we're going to kind of follow their lead on that and just go there and just, because they've worked really hard on a lot of stuff. We're going to try and work together in love through this thing as we go back in. That'll be a good test. Can we do it with each other? And then we'll take it from there and we'll do it with all the other people that are in the ripple effect of our lives who are called our neighbors and love on them. That's the challenge and the encouragement I give you for this last day that we're out here. Walk with that as we make another transition, okay? Carly, are you okay enough to do it?
I don't know.
If Carly can't sing it, you just got to get a little louder, okay?
Patriots kicking your butt. Yeah, you want to help me read this? Just turn your eyes.
Okay. You know what? I'm not that mean to Carly. Let's just pray, okay? I'm not going to do this to her. Let's pray. God, thank you for really another beautiful day in the park. Another day to just, again, take this in. God, even on this day, I know that we have different thoughts. Some love being out here, some don't. Some are ready for a change, some don't want to. All this, God, everything we do right now, we are a mixed bag. But just because it's difficult, it's hard for us to stomach things, doesn't give us the right to ignore your command and to ignore your call. First of all, God, we're thankful that you did not ignore your call, that Jesus, you fulfilled your calling so that we even have a chance. Help us to go live out and fulfill ours. As we walk from this park to the people we meet today and tomorrow and Tuesday and on, and then again as we gather again next week, let us be people that the thing that drives us is that we want to love you with everything that we can, and just like it, and as a way to show it, we want to love our neighbors like we would love ourselves, that we would want to do to them what we would want done to us. God, help us to go back and reacquaint ourselves on what love really is, the greatest definition that you have ever given, what that is. Help us to be honest and see the barriers that are keeping us from doing that, that make us want to abandon your commandment. And then help us decide whether that person is more important or whether our pride and our position is more important. And then help us to make the decision, if we're secure enough in you, to be willing to do whatever it takes to love them. God, I know that it isn't going to be any easier. In fact, it'll probably get harder, especially since we talked about it. But give us the strength to carry this out and just watch you work through the greatest weapon you ever gave us to fight life's battles with your love. Thank you for this group. Thank you for this body. Thank you for this moment. We praise you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.